Welcome to LaTour Retirement Talk. I'm your co-host, Tony Shore, and I'm here with our hosts, Jim Margraph and Josh LaTour. They looked a little shocked when I brought us in there. I hit it hard right away. Welcome. So, Jim and Josh, how are you guys doing?
Oh, we're doing pretty good, Tony. How are you, Ben?
Good. I'm in my home studio today. We're recording this on a Friday, so I am in my home studio. I'm doing fantastic. Nice. I'm headed down to see my parents this weekend. Mm-hmm. Josh, I'm not like you, where to see my parents, I just open the door.
Right. That's only if they happen to be home, which is becoming more and more rare. So,
oh yeah, they're doing a lot of traveling. I know your dad does a lot of missions work and a lot of preaching and things like that. So I think that's fantastic. And he's got you two guys to run the office there, and a great team. So that's cool. Jim, what have you been up to?
Oh, just a lot of the usual everyday stuff, but every now and then, we on the show, we've talked about how you need to be prepared for some things with your finances. You need some cash on hand.
Yeah.
And, because, every now and then you have appliances that will just die on you, and they don't like to do it just one at a time. They like to do it in pairs or in triplets.
You don't have any experience with that, do you, Jim?
Yeah. Like as in just Wednesday, a new fridge and a new oven.
You're kidding me.
Nope.
Your fridge and oven went out?
Fridge and oven. Now the fridge, it's something my wife and I had bought that one, I think, just before we got married.
Oh, wow.
So it was due.
Yeah.
But the oven had
the new one's going to last you 5 years.
Yeah, I know.
Seriously,
I know.
the newer ones,
But the oven had some issues with a bad electrical storm, and the house got a big surge, and something happened with the oven, and we had it repaired, but it was just never quite right. And now it won't maintain temperature. First thing, you open it and nothing's cooked at all. And then you raise the temperature 5 degrees and now it's burnt. So, my wife said, can we get a new oven? I'm like, yeah, let's get a new oven.
Yeah, that's probably a good idea. Unless you want to keep eating cold or burnt food.
Well, I've discovered, and actually it's something I've known for a long time. I like to eat.
Yeah. Join the club.
You made sure this time lightning's not going to be a problem, right? You went gas stove, right?
Yes.
There you go. Well, even gas stoves have electronics.
Yeah, they do.
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you what, cooking with gas
is the way to go.
Better. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We have an electric stove, but I grew up, with gas appliances, and I know that when you cook on a gas stove, on the stovetop, it's a lot better. I mean, there's no comparison.
Yeah, I like it a lot.
Yeah.
So, getting new appliances, always have to be ready for those kinds of things.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you do. You have to be. You never know when an appliance is going to go out. But 2 in 1 week, that's having to buy 2 new appliances in 1 week.
Mm-hmm.
That's you bit off a lot. But why not? If you're buying one, you want them to match. You want that type of thing.
Right.
But Josh is right. The appliances now. We have the refrigerator that we've been in this house well over 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
And the refrigerator was in here when we bought the house, and it's still the same refrigerator.
Mm-hmm.
And it works fine. We were like, man, wouldn't it be nice to have one of those nice steel, it's an old white one and we wanted to replace it because we replaced our other appliances, but we're like, we've been told that the new the new refrigerators will last maybe 5 years. And it's just like, ouch.
Yeah. Just as my wife was picking them out, I was sitting down with a client, and something came up, and I mentioned, hey, you need to have some cash ready for things that happen, and like appliances. And then the lady starts going into the fact that they had just bought like a number of new appliances, and it's not even a year, and they're having to have them repaired and warranty replacements. I'm like, oh no, don't tell me this. This is about what I'm about to do. So
we had that with the washer. We had it for a year.
Yeah.
We were just outside of our warranty.
Oh,
yeah.
Months outside the warranty.
The guy at the office who fixes and repairs the appliances in the big kitchens they have in that big gradient center there. And he was in there and I'm like, hey, we need a new dishwasher. What kind should we buy? Which is going to last? We want one that's going to last. Which is the best brand to buy? And he goes, none of them. He goes, I work on all of them.
Wow.
And he goes, you want to
sad.
avoid ones that, at that, this is probably 4 years ago, 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And he said at that time, the ones he works on the most are the ones that have the same names as, if they make cell phones,
Yes.
don't buy their dishwashers.
Uh-huh.
And I'm like, okay, that makes sense.
Right. I've heard that a lot.
But, he said it's not good. So, they don't make them like they used to. Now we sound like a bunch of old folks sitting around talking about they don't make things like but they really don't when it comes to appliances.
No.
They're made to be disposable. So, speaking of needing to save money, you wanted to talk about retiring soon. Like for those of our listeners who may be contemplating retirement in the next year or two, things that they need to be aware of and do. Where do you want to begin with this conversation?
Well, Tony, I think the thing that is most important when we're looking at when we're getting ready to retire is we need to take in account of what we have. What do we have in the 401ks? What do we have in the IRAs? What is Roth? What is pre-tax? We need to sit down and know exactly what we have. And the other thing we need to do is take a look, and this is something that we've talked about for a long time. What's it going to take to maintain our budget in retirement?
Right.
What is that monthly number that we need to have coming in? Because I say goodbye to that final paycheck, it doesn't mean the bills stop. So we need to sit down and take a look, because the transition from our working years into retirement is a big one. And it requires a change of investments. It requires a change on my insurance, like my medical insurance, because a lot of times we lose our workplace coverage, go to Medicare, but it requires a change in mindset as well. And so I think if we get the change in our mindset, it makes everything else just a little bit easier in the process.
Yeah. And I think it's important too, not to just go with the rules of thumb that we've heard about. You read an article and it said, you want to be able to take 4% out of your investments, and that's going to sustain you forever. The 4% rule is outdated.
It is.
And just like every rule of thumb, it's a starting place. It's not your end goal. So it's a good place to start, but we need to go forward from there. And you need to make a plan that actually fits your individual needs, because your needs are going to be different than anybody else's. And so you need to make sure that your plan is not just the rule of thumb, so to speak, and it's your individual tailored plan.
Right. Like last night, we did a workshop on Social Security. And one of the things that you go into in the part of the workshop is you talk about how every one of us has a different set of fingerprints. Right. It's unique my fingerprints are unique to me. And so every one of us out there and every couple has a unique financial situation. Their goals, their objectives, combined with the net worth that they have, the incomes that they have. And so how we position your assets and how things are structured need to be tailored to you. And so, you may have that brother-in-law, that barber, whoever that says, hey, this is when you want to take Social Security. This is how you want to invest in your retirement years. Well, maybe it was it was right for them.
Right.
But maybe it's not right for you. So this is something where sit down with a financial services professional, go over what are the options, what are some of the things that we see that when we're looking at the goals and objectives, what works in this changeover in life and investment phase here, what works best. And we'll take a look at that and help you work through to get where you need to be.
If you wanted to make a generalization about something that may be for everybody, it's that as you reach that retirement age where you're actually wanting to exit the workforce, you're going to start needing these funds to start working for you
Mhm.
the way that you've been working for your funds.
Right.
Where you're providing that paycheck, now they need to provide the paycheck for you.
Mhm.
You do need to change your mindset. So
Yes.
that I would say is pretty much across the board.
Right.
That affects everybody. As you enter that stage, we need to get out of that accumulation mindset where we used accumulation strategies, and let's enter into the distribution and preservation mindset,
Right.
because that's the stage of life you're in now. You need to make sure that the funds you have can take care of your standard of living, and that they're not on this roller coaster ride of the
Right.
market that
Mhm.
we've been experiencing throughout our work years,
Mhm.
because we could afford to at that time. You're in
Right.
a different stage. You need to change how we're investing and change how we're thinking.
And so many times with that accumulation mindset, this is something, we talk to clients, all the time about, or prospective clients, is with that accumulation mindset, we're so programmed to be looking for, okay, what's my percentage gain this year? How much growth did I get? How am I doing relative to the market? All the time. It's a main driver in how we think.
Mhm.
But when we get to the place where we've said goodbye to that final paycheck, and now we need those funds to produce income for us, and we want that reliability of that income, kind of the way, and the steadiness of it, the way we had the steadiness of a paycheck. Now it's not so much, hey, how much what's my growth percentage every year, but how well did I preserve what I have
Right.
against market loss? Because I don't want the next recession that's waiting in the wings somewhere. We don't know when, but it's waiting in the wings somewhere. I don't want the next recession to take 40% of my funds from me. Meanwhile, I'm also trying to take 4% distribution. That happens. I'm up a creek without a paddle when it comes to maintaining my standard of living in my retirement years. So this is something that we do continuously for our clients, is how do we structure it to preserve those funds against the next market downturn as well.
Just to interject, Jim, I can tell you've lived in Missouri for a while now, because you just said crick. I love it.
Oh, yeah, it's the creek.
Yeah.
Up the creek. You're up the creek.
Up a creek without a paddle, yes.
Yeah, there you go.
You guys are starting to rub off on me a
Yeah.
little bit.
Yeah, that's funny. That's funny. So, well, and you've talked about a number of things. What's something else people who are wanting to retire relatively soon, what's another thing they should be doing or thinking about?
Well, Tony, I think managing taxes
Mhm.
is just as important in retirement, if not more so, as it is in your working years.
It could be your number one expense in retirement next to healthcare, probably.
Yeah,
Sure can.
absolutely. Yeah, it definitely can. And people tend to have the thought that taxes really aren't going to matter in retirement because, well, maybe I won't be making as much, and so I'll be in a
Right.
lower tax bracket anyway. Well, that's true for some. It's
Mhm.
not true for everybody.
No.
And so making sure that you have the plan outlined for what you're going to be needing, that is how you're going to know if taxes are really going to affect
Right.
you in retirement. So sitting down with a financial advisor and with a tax advisor, making sure you have these things covered, because they are important. I mean, tax rates eventually are going to go up.
Mhm.
We know that with the big beautiful bill that we just had, the tax rates were set to permanent. But all permanent means is until they're changed next time. It just means they don't have a current expiration date.
Yeah.
And tax code is written in pencil. They're going to change. They're going to go up at some point, because we understand that we have a very large deficit in this country that needs to be taken care of. Eventually, it's going to come to the taxpayer.
Yep.
So taxes are going to go up, and you need to make sure that you are prepared for that. And
Right.
that's why having a comprehensive plan, it includes tax planning.
Mhm.
It's not just, how do I get my money back to me after I retire? That's part of it, but that's not the whole plan. You need to make sure taxes are a consideration. Taxes along with inflation protection.
Mhm.
Inflation's not going anywhere. We're still going to have it, even if it's a lesser rate now than it was a few years ago. Thank God it's less than it was a few years ago, because
Yes.
we were getting out of hand there for a while.
We sure were.
But it's still going to be something that affects us over time, and you need to have some protection built in to
Mhm.
your overall plan. Now, thankfully, we have some of that protection from Social Security.
Mhm.
That we get a cost
Right.
of living adjustment bump every year that inflation goes up. Some pensions out there still have a cost of living adjustment. Some of them are pretty good, but pensions are not very common anymore. And so having that built in is not going to be there for everybody.
No.
So You want to make sure that it's built into your plan as well.
Mm-hmm. That's why when we put together a plan for someone, yes, we have the portion of their funds that we are structured to produce that income stream to on top of our Social Security to maintain that standard of living. But when we look at the funds that we're not needing to maintain our standard of living, we invest that, according to someone's risk tolerance, their goals, to add some cream and some inflation protection to the standard of living that they do have. So, it's not all about just, the best investment. It's about the right mix of investments for you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. And obviously, based on your situation, having your money in the right place is almost more important than how much you have. It's like, where is it at? When do you need, based on when you need to access it, right?
That's absolutely right, Tony. Yeah, that's a good distinction. It's not just how much you have, it's where you have it. I like that.
Yeah.
And as far as the distinction for how much you have, there's no one size fits all for what you need to retire on either. If you look at any financial journal out there, there is going to be an article that says you need such and such amount in order to retire in 2025. Well, that is true for a few people. That's not going to be true for the masses. I mean, that number can go one direction or the other depending on what your needs are. So make sure that you are sitting down with a financial advisor. You don't just have the preconceived notion of this is what I need and I'm going to be fine, or man, I'm not going to be okay because I don't have this set aside. Your situation's different. So sit down and get the plan put in place to see if you can actually retire.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just it. A lot of people are like, can I retire? Am I going to have enough? How do you know these things? Like our plan was to retire next year. Can we still do it? If you're not working with a trusted fiduciary, a financial professional who's looking out for your best needs, you don't. And make sure you've gotten a second opinion. So I encourage our listeners and viewers to pick up the phone, give you guys a call. You got a great team there. And to look over things, work with a financial professional. That's probably the biggest thing, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely, Tony. I can't tell you how many times we sit down with people. Nobody thinks they can retire. Or very few people do, I should say. Regardless of how much they have. I mean, we have people quite a bit. Where we look at their situation, tell them, you know what? It's actually costing you in your monthly standard of living to continue working. If you retired, you would have a higher monthly standard of living than you have right now. So you don't have to continue working unless you just want to. And so there's so many cases where you may as well go ahead and pull the trigger unless you are really enjoying working. And now there are the other cases as well where people need to wait a little longer because it'll put them in a better position. Maybe they get some things paid down or maybe they're able to lower their standard of living, kind of learn to live within their means. There's again, no one size fits all.
What's next?
Tony, you did mention something I wanted to highlight because you talked about a fiduciary. And when it comes to who you sit down with to help you with your funds in retirement, there are different standards that are out there. And, if you sit down with someone who is just insurance licensed, they're a salesperson, really. And, they're going to sell you something. But as a fiduciary, we're not looking to sell you something. We're looking for what is in your best interest. So we're going to look and ask a lot of questions, about your current financial situation. We're going to ask questions like, how much do you make currently? And how much do we have in these different assets, whether it's 401ks, IRAs? What is your Social Security going to be coming in? What other streams of income do you have? Is it a pension or is it rental income or is it some type of a royalty? I had a client that has a cell phone tower on their property and they get a nice monthly amount from that, right? It all helps. But what do we have coming in and what do we have? We're going to look at all of this and to put it together. But we're looking to do what is in your best interest, not just to sell you because some particular insurance policy or a mutual fund. You go to the mutual fund store, what are you going to get? You're going to get mutual funds, right? You go to talk to an insurance person. What are you going to get? Some type of an insurance policy. And that's why we're licensed across the board to be able to look at a person's situation and say, what best fits what you need to accomplish with your funds to help you in the best way possible as you make that transition from the accumulation stage of life to the distribution and preservation stage.
Yeah. Well, and I think that's huge. And so there are those different stages, and you need to know what it's what you need when, right? When you need it is a big thing, and everybody's time horizon is different. You have different time horizons. Like, I'm going to need this much my first year of retirement because I want to do this over here. Maybe I want to buy a new camper. Well, is that part of the plan? Did you plan for it? What are the tax implications? Where's that money going to come from? So there's a lot to look at there, and to plan ahead for. What's something else they need to be thinking about?
Well, Tony, for those who are maybe a little bit further out and you're just wanting to make sure you're set up in the best way possible for retirement, you're wanting to prepare, I highly recommend utilize the investment tools that we have available to us while we're in our working years.
Right.
If you've got the company 401k, use it. Okay.
Yeah.
If there's an employer match,
use it well.
take advantage of it.
Yes.
Contribute at least enough to get that employer match. But you can contribute beyond that. I hear people all the time that say, I'm maxing out my 401k. And all they mean by that is they're contributing enough to get the employer match. You're not maxing out your 401k. And actually, you could do more even out of your budget. So being able to increase that over time, and honestly, if we're talking about rules of thumb, 15 to 20% of your pay is a great thing to be saving. Not everybody can do that. Right. It's got to work for your budget, but do what you can and then increase over time and use windfalls to your advantage to put away for the future. Windfalls are not just for right now. They can be used for the future too. So if you get a raise, maybe you get an inheritance, you can use that opportunity to help put away for another day. All right. So take advantage of that. And like I said, we have high contribution limits in these 401ks and other retirement plans.
They keep raising them every year, every time there's legislation passed. And that's good. I mean, right now, I think I could, at a certain age, you can put away like as much as $35,000 a year, I think.
Yes. Yeah. So if you are, there's a small window. It's 60 to 64. 63. You're
I think it's 63. Yeah.
Yep. It's 4 years, 60, 61, 62, and 63. You can put an extra amount. And I believe it's 34,750.
Yes.
So almost 35,000 that you can put into those retirement plans.
And if you're over 50 or 50, I think it's 30,000, right?
31,000.
31,000 in the 401k. And if you have some extra to contribute after that, you can always look at your IRAs. You can go up to 8,000 if you're over 50.
And an IRA or a Roth IRA. So,
and I just want to point out for our viewers, especially, and our listeners, but our viewers, I am not yet in the window where you can put up to almost 35,000. I know you guys were trying to, you gave me that look like, there's that window, Tony Shore, that you might want to.
We just want to make sure you're well informed, Tony.
Not there yet.
Not there yet. There very, very soon. You can utilize it.
Yes. Some of us sooner than others. You're right. Well, that is good to know. And again, this is why you want to work with folks like yourselves who know all of this and can say, hey, did you plan for this? Here's what you need to be doing if you want to retire in 2 years. Do this. Right.
Yes. Yeah, when you look at putting the money aside, there's no substitute for having done that in preparation. And when it comes to saving for retirement, for anybody that's a little bit younger out there that's listening, the best time to start was as soon as you started making money. The second best time is today. So if you haven't started yet, now's the time. And because the power of compounding interest and the effect of the markets on your portfolio over time, the sooner you start, the better. I'm just going to toss this in here, but one of the things I've talked to a number of clients about, because oftentimes as you're making that transition into your retirement years, you have your kids, but you also have grandkids. And the kids are busy paying all the mortgages, they're paying for all the diapers and all the new outfits twice a year for their kids as their kids grow out of them. I've told some grandparents, hey, listen, if you just set a few $1,000s aside in an account that's set aside for that grandchild, you can get them a major head start without it being a massive amount of money now. But because of time on their side, it can end up, if you do it when they're born and it's left alone and invested in the market, by the time they're 65, you're getting somewhere near $1 million just with the compounding effect of the market over 65 years. So time is on your side. And so for someone that is, in their retirement years, but has the grandkids and wants to help them out, that's something that you can do.
Yeah. I like that. And that's another great plan to put in place. And I know we probably have a lot of people listening to the show and watching it who are thinking about retiring, or this is definitely our plan. We are definitely doing it. Well, now's the time to look that over, isn't it?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have people that ask us, Tony, so is it too early for me to come in to start looking at retirement? I know it's a few years out. I said, well, I mean, it's not going to hurt to have a conversation. And
Right.
let's take a look at it. Maybe it is too early to actually do anything quite yet. But if you have a plan that you can start following along as you get closer to that retirement age, you're going to be better off.
Yeah.
So retirement planning starts when you do. So start early. And then you're not going to be left wanting at the end.
Yeah.
Right.
There you go. Well, hey, we're almost out of time. It just flew by.
Oh, wow.
So before we go, how can our listeners get a hold of you?
Well, Tony, best way is give us a call. Our phone number is 417-641-3497. Also, don't forget to visit our website at LaTourAsset.com. One of the things we mentioned during the show here today is that we had done a Social Security workshop here just last night. But you can go on our website if you would like to come to one of those. Those are posted on there. And also we do some workshops on Medicare as well. So go to our website, LaTourAsset.com, for more information on those.
All right. Well, that sounds great. Thanks, guys. Thanks, Jim. Thanks, Josh. Listeners, thanks for tuning in, and viewers as well. That does it for today's episode of LaTour Retirement Talk with our hosts, Josh LaTour and Jim Margraph.